Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. Today we are going to dive into the world of data analysis with pandas. By the end of this video, you'll be able to clean, transform and explore data all with the help of pandas library. This tutorial for anyone who is a beginner in data analysis or who have heard of pandas but have never used it. So let's get started and let's see what we are going to cover in this tutorial. So pandas is a really important library for data analysis, and we can use pandas for data cleaning, data transformation and data exploration. So we'll be covering the basic functions of pandas that can be used for performing cleaning, transformation and exploration. All right, and let's jump into the fun part. Okay, so we will be working through some code together step by step. So feel free to pause the video and follow along. Don't worry if you do not know about a lot of technical jargon, because everything will be explained and no crazy coding jargons will be used. So let's get started. I'm going to cover a mini project to understand all the basic functionalities of pandas. For this mini project, we will be using a dataset from the UCI machine learning repository, which is an online retail dataset. It is a transactional dataset from the UK-based online retailer. First, we need to set up our project. We will be using Python, and in order to use pandas, let's import pandas as PD. I have already downloaded the dataset, so I will just load it from the Spark. But I will post the link below and you can download the dataset from there, and then you can specify the path here and then you can load the dataset into a data frame. So we will be using a function from pandas, that is read underscore excel, to load our dataset from the specified path. So we have loaded the dataset into df data frame. We can bring the head to see what our data looks like. So this is what the dataset actually consists of. It has the invoice number, stock code, description, quantity, invoice date, unit price, customer ID, and country. The next step that we are going to perform in data analysis is cleaning the dataset. So cleaning the dataset is an essential step. By cleaning, we mean we can handle the missing values or we can handle the outliers. Missing value basically means there might be some rows where one or two values might be missing. Like we might have some rows where the quantity or the unit price is missing. So it's better to remove those rows, because those are not going to provide much value to our analysis. In order to handle the missing value, we'll simply use a function from the pandas library, that is drop na. So what this function is going to do is it is going to remove all the rows that has missing values. However, removing the rows with the missing values is appropriate when the number of rows with missing values is really small. However, when we have data set that which has a lot of rows with missing values, there are other methods uh, that can be applied. Like we can perform data imputation. That means we can fill the missing values with the mean or the median or alternate methods. Okay, the next thing that we need to do is remove the outliers. First of all, what outliers are values that are either too small or too big, so such values can skew our analysis and deviate significantly from the norm, and it is not good for the analysis. So what we can do to handle outliers is we can simply remove the rows that consist of outliers. So for this data set, we see that we have quantities and we have unit prices. These are the values that we will be working with. So anything in the quantity column that is less than 0 and in the unit price column that is less than 0 does not make much sense. So we will be removing any rows that has values less than 0. In order to do that, we have to just define the condition within the square brackets. What is the condition? Condition is so within the square brackets we have added a condition, that is select only the values where the quantity is greater than 0 and also the unit price is greater than 0. So this will return us all the rows that have both these values greater than 0. So run this code and it will clean our data set. All right, the next step is data transformation. By data transformation, what we mean is we can uh, drive new columns from the existing columns by performing some calculations, or we can format the data types of certain columns that are not present in the desirable format or data type. Let's do this. So if we look at our data, we have the quantity and we have the unit price. So we can drive another column, total price, from both these columns, where we can multiply the quantity by the unit price and we will get the total price. We'll simply um, write the name of our new column, that is total price, followed by the values that we want to multiply and the operator, that is multiply. So we have our quantity and that's it. We have our another column which is total price. Next thing that we can do to transform our data is changing the data type. As you can see in the data set that we have a column invoice data. So we can try to change the data type of this column to date time, so that in our further analysis, when we have to perform certain calculations or analysis, like if we want to analyze the data monthly or yearly, it will be easier for us to do that when we have the column in the preferred format. So in order to do that, simply mention the name of the column here, and that is invoice date. So what we are doing here is we are using pandas functions to underscore datetime to transform the data type of this column to datetime. And that's it. And we can run this cell. If we try to print the head of the data to look at the results after the cleaning and transforming the data, we can see it. So here we have another column, total price, which is the multiplication of unit and quantity. We will not be having any rows that has negative values of quantity or unit price. And we have converted our invoice date column to the type date type. Next comes exploring the data. Exploring the data is next step in data analysis, and by exploring we mean we can analyze the statistics of the data to understand the data. Here we can use pandas to describe our data set using the function describe. And when we run this, this is going to list all the columns, their count, the count of each column, mean, minimum value, 25 percentile, 50 percentile, 75 percentile, maximum value in standard deviation. So from this we can have a better understanding of our data, and we can understand that what are the minimum and maximum values of the data, the standard deviation, and the median and the means. So this is very useful information when we want to explore the data and we want to identify that whether the data is present in a suitable format or not. In order to visualize the data, we will be using matplotlib library. We can plot histogram, we can plot line graphs. Here we are going to plot a histogram to reveal the distribution of data so that we will able to identify the patterns and the regularities. So first of all, from matplotlib we are importing pyplot as plt that we are going to use to visualize our data. So so let's let's plot a histogram to understand our data, distribution of data. So we have defined that we are going to plot a histogram for quantity column, and we have taken the bin size of 50. Next is really simple. We have just defined the X label and we have defined the y label and we have defined the title, then we are just going to plot the graph and we can run this and we can this is our histogram. We can change the bin size to have a closer look at how the quantity distribution actually looks like. Next thing in data analysis is finding patterns, and we can find the patterns using techniques like grouping and aggregation. By grouping, we mean when we want to group the data uh, on specific columns or variables. For example, here we can group the data by country, and aggregation mean we can perform calculations over the group data. For example, here we are going to group over data by country, and then we are going to calculate the sum of the total sales so that we know that how many sales were done in each country. So this is simple using pandas. So the way we are going to group the data is we will mention the name of our data frame. We will use the group underscore by function from pandas, and in this function we are going to write the name of the column over which we are going to create the group. So we have the country column that can be used to group, and then we need to specify how we are going to aggregate it. So, the column based on which we are going to aggregate the data. So we will use total sales, total price, and then we can compute the sum for each country's total sales. So so this function is going to return a series object, and we will put that object into a variable, say country sales, because we are going to know the sales made in each country. Here's another thing that we are going to do, because this is going to return a series. So we will have two columns in the series. We will have the country and we will have the total price. But how it works in a series is country will be treated as a key and total price will be treated as a value. And but we do not want the country to be treated as a key because we are going to use it for further analysis. So what we are going to do is we are going to use a simple function, that is reset index. So this what this function is going to do, it is just going to assign another index to our series object. So country will be treated as a value, total price will be a value, and we will have another index. So we have our series, then we can sort the countries by the total sales. The next thing that we can do is we can sort the values by total price so that we can get the top countries where the total sales are the maximum. We have set ascending false because we will like it from the highest to lowest. Then we can print our top 5 countries where the sales have been maximum. For that we can simply print the head. And when we run this code, we will get our results. Oh, so I made a simple mistake, so there is no underscore. And voila, we have our results. So UK made the highest number of sales, followed by Netherlands, Ireland, Germany, and France. Do you notice the numbers here? 35, 23, 10, 14, 13. This is because of this function reset index that we used. This index assigned a new index to each of the country that we can see here. Okay, so these were some of the basic functionalities of pandas. Now if we talk about the advanced techniques for powerful analysis using pandas, we can perform some techniques like time series analysis, clustering, or predictive modeling. Here for this mini project, we will be performing time series analysis. What is a time series analysis? It is like so because we have the data from 2010 to 2011, what we can do is we can group the data by month, and then we can plot it against the number of sales that were made in each month. So that way we can analyze the trends and the patterns that were observed from over the period of 2010 to 2011, that which can help us to understand the trends, and which can help the businesses to make better decisions regarding their strategies and whatsoever. So let's try to do this. So let's create another column in our data frame. Let's call it invoice month. We are going to extract the month from our invoice date value. For that, we are going to use a function dt from pandas, and we'll mention that we want to convert our date. We want to extract the month value from our date, and we want to put it into the column invoice month. Awesome. When we have our month column, we can compute the sum for each month, and that is easy because we have already done that. So we will define an object, and we are just going to group the dataset as we did earlier. So we will group it by invoice month, and we want to group it over total sales, total price here, and we want to compute the sum. Awesome. Awesome. And that's it. Okay, so this is simple. What we have done is, first, using the figure, we have just specified the dimensions of the figure. Then the plot keyword means that we are going to plot a line graph, and the variables, the x and y axis variables are, for x axis we have taken the index from the monthly sales. Our index will be our date, invoice date, and that is converted to our index will be invoice month, and we have converted it to string because we want to label our x-axis. Then we have, on the y-axis, we have monthly sales values, that is our total price will be presented on y-axis, and the marker means that the point of intersection between the x and y-axis will be represented by a circle. Then we have our x label, y label, title, x, which means that we are going to rotate the labels on the x-axis by 45. Then we have mentioned that the grid to be true, so that we can analyze the plot better, and then we have plt.show. So here is our time series analysis for the monthly data for the online retail dataset. So it seems like we observe an upward trend when we reach the months October and November. So in this video, we have covered how to import data, clean it, transform it, explore it, and uncover patterns using pandas. This is just the beginning of data analysis, and there is a lot more to pandas. Remember, practice makes perfect, so grab a dataset and start exploring. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more content on data science and Python. Let me know in the comments what kind of data analysis you are curious about. Thanks for joining me today. Until next time, happy coding and keep conquering the data. Bye.